We sold our house!
Don't get too psyched because you haven't sold it yet. You're in escrow. Do you understand what escrow is?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart with Escrow. Your host here, Maria Gomez, President and CEO of Orange County Escrow Services. And my special guest is my beautiful friend, Erika Garcia. And we're going to be talking about credit repairs and how to fix your credit and a whole bunch of other stuff to help a community, get ready to buy a home or fix their credit or don't know any guidance as to how to go about your credit. So here we are, Erika Garcia. Her business name is OC Credit and Business Builders. Erika, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, I want to thank you, Maria. Thank you for having me. I know we've been trying to schedule this for some time, and you know what? I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you for today's opportunity and just to share a little bit about me and my business.
Great. So I want to just kind of tell our audience a little bit about Erika. Where did you grow up? How was, maybe life? And how did you get into credit, right? Because I know we talk a lot about, growing up and in high school. Nobody teaches us about credit. Nobody really prepares us for the real life out there, right? And so what got you into credit and helping the community, to be able to understand that? Because I know in the Hispanic community, at least me growing up, it was just maybe a taboo that we never spoke about. I mean, I think as a child, the only thing I knew that I had a social security number, but I had no idea for what it was for. But Let us know about how, first of all, your upbringing, your goals, how you got into this business.
Yeah. So I'm from Celaya, Guanajuato.
Oh, nice.
That's where I was born, and then I came to the U.S. when I was 5. Grew up with my, single mother and my siblings. And like you said, growing up, we knew nothing about credit, nothing about finances. I think as, Latinos or just any mom that is trying to just survive and trying to get her kids food and a board over their head. Right. The last thing we think about is finances, is savings, 100%. It's credit. I mean, I didn't even know the word credit until I grew up, and I was getting ready to buy a house and say, well, how's your credit? And I said, what does that mean?
Yes.
So that's how I got started. That's, me growing up, and how I got started. I used to work for another company. We used to have an insurance office, and a friend of mine came and said, hey, I'm selling my company. I want you to buy it. And I said, okay, well, what's this company? And it was a credit company. So that's where the curiosity started. And I realized, after I had bad credit after going through a divorce, and I said, okay, well, tell me more about this. And that's where I learned, how to fix people's credit. And I realized, okay, this is a real thing. Mm-hmm. So let's see if I could actually make a career out of this. And that's how I got started.
How long have you been doing credit repair? How long have you had your business?
It's been now 10 years, solid 10 years that I've had it, yes.
So that is very successful, because I know for sure the first 2 years is very difficult. And so congratulations on having your business for 10 years. It means a lot, and it talks about your integrity and what you're doing with the community and helping them out. So my next question is, how do you help clients? I'm in, obviously, real estate, in this real estate division, and I used to work for banks, and I used to run credit as a loan officer. And I know one of the biggest things is credit and having some credit and people not having credit. Tell me what you recommend to our clients as to the best ideal credit you should have and how they should manage it.
Okay. That's a lot of questions, so let's start with one. It's okay. Let's back up. I think one of the first things that everyone should do is recognize and get educated on what the word credit means. What is it? What is it for? Because it's not just to buy a house. It's not just to get a credit card. It's so important to really know and understand it, because if you don't understand how it works, then you're never going to have stable credit. It's always going to be just upside down. You're always either going to be really high or really low because they don't understand it. So I think that's like the number one thing every person should do, whether either take a course or go online nowadays with today's technology. You could learn it. You could just go on YouTube and say, what does credit mean? And I think that's number one.
Right.
And then the other is really taking accountability of your own finances, writing everything down, because having good credit starts with the root of your finances. So I think that when you have the strength to sit down and open up your bank statements and really take accountability of all your finances, I mean, that's like step number one.
Right.
And, you know, from there, then it's okay, well, now recognizing what are the things that I need to let go of? How many credit cards do I have to open up, or how many credit cards do I have to not use anymore
Right.
for me to have excellent credit?
And let's talk about FICO scores, because obviously going back to, you know, getting a loan or a home loan or anything like that, there are what we call FICO scores, and they vary obviously based on running your credit and based on the line of credits that you have, whether you max out, you know, your credit card. So talk to us what a credit FICO score is and how it fluctuates between the numbers, from what's the worst you've seen to what's the best, and how do we get to have the best, right?
Great question. FICO score, it's just, FICO is just the company. There's different platforms.
Okay.
And I think that's really, it's very powerful for people to understand that there's different platforms. There's hard inquiries, there's soft inquiries. And I mean, there's just so much to understand. But knowing that, what are the scores? So we start with, I mean, the lowest I've personally seen is 397.
Holy
I mean,
mother.
which is really, really low. And then the highest that I've seen is 825, which is very rare for somebody to have. You know, probably like the 800s, like the low 800s, but anything over like 820, it's very tough to have.
Right.
So average American has between 680, which is really sad, to like 750. That's the average.
That's the average you're seeing.
That's the average that people have.
Now, you also, other than you wear many hats into this credit business, but I know that you also negotiate credit, any debt that someone else can get overwhelmed, because and I think we're all become a victim of high balances and creditors calling us and creditors kind of limiting us from what we can use. But, and that can be overwhelming to some people and some of your clients. So what is your typical client, and what does that look like when they come to you and say, Erika, I just can't, I'm up to here of debt, and I just either, what do I do? Filed bankruptcy. Can you help me? What are the other sources that you give your clientele? So give me an example of a client from beginning to end as to how do you assist them, because I know you do have programs, that you can put them on depending on, what they're looking for, what they're looking to accomplish, whether it's just to fix their credit, consolidate debts, or buy a home. And so give me an example of a client, if someone's out there watching and says, that's me, I'm up to here of debt, and how do I do it? And BK is not your option, but there's other options.
Right. A lot of people know me for Erika, the girl that fixes credit. And you're right. I have a lot of hats. I don't just fix people's credit. In our office, I like to call us like a financial clinic. We do a little bit of everything, or I'm the Mexican Google. We just,
very resourceful.
Very resourceful. But in our office, we do credit restoration, which is the credit repair, debt settlement, and then we also help people build credit, and we help people. We just educate them through the process of how to fix their credit, or how to build credit or maintain good credit. We also do taxes in our office. We form corporations. Like I said, we do a lot of like the financial.
Oh, okay.
Now, our average client is we have two right now. Before COVID, it was just, I need my credit fixed. After COVID, a lot of things change, because right now, the way things are, I mean, our cost of living is just, we're
high.
paying $27. I still trip on $27 for olive oil, where that wasn't like that before. My average client before, it was somebody that would call me and say, I need you to help me with my credit, and it was debt of like $5,000, $6,000, and now we're talking $30,000, $40,000. I mean, I get clients right now that they're $150,000 in credit card
What's
debt.
the highest rate you've seen on a credit card rate?
Oh, 47%.
Wow. Hey, if that's you better call my girl over here, because
47%. Yeah.
that's all going to interest.
And what's crazy is before, if you had excellent credit, you had the best rate. And it almost seems like right now it doesn't matter if you have good credit or not. The average person with good credit right now, even the interest, we're talking like 8%, 12%, 15%. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just outrageous.
Yeah, I agree. That is crazy. So your average client that comes to you and says, hey, I'm just can't, you help them consolidate, and, you know, what is the long term or maybe the short term that you can assist somebody? Because obviously everybody's situation is a little bit different. But what other type of programs that you offer to these clients?
So one of the things that I love about our company is we are different. We're a different credit repair company. Average credit repair company, we have a software, and that software basically, you know, we synchronize the credit report, and then a lot of credit repair companies, not that I'm talking bad about them, but just what we do different is a lot of them they just dispute, and we don't just do that. We do a full credit analysis because every situation is different. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, you know, there's people that can file BK. Who are the people that can't? Maybe they have property, maybe they have a lot of assets, and sometimes people feel like, oh my gosh, I'm like up to here and I can't pay anymore. Mm-hmm. But a bankruptcy is not an option. So then we go through different programs. The first thing is we do a credit analysis and just basically look at all the history, look at all the credit cards. How is that going to affect them? I always like to think of the future. I always like to plan ahead. So that's another question that we ask. What is your situation? One, if a person doesn't have a stable home and they're going to need something in a year, then we know that they can file for bankruptcy, or maybe they cannot settle their debt because that's going to hurt their credit even more. If somebody's looking to purchase a house in like the next 2 years, that's somebody also that would not qualify for debt settlement or for a bankruptcy because it's going to hurt their credit extremely. So we don't want that. So we really take it serious on each person, going through every area of their life, how it's going to affect them in the future. And I'm really proud of us by doing that, because I know a lot of other companies, it's just about getting that client and saying, okay, I could fix your credit, without really thinking of like, what are the consequences? What's going to happen? Because when we are desperate, we do desperate things.
100%. I agree. And, you know, and it talks a lot about your company and your, you know, transparency with clients, because, you know, I think just like me, right? You become the most transparent company, so that way they refer you other people. You know, it's hard enough to go try to get market and other stuff. But if you're doing that word of mouth and be like, whoa, Erika literally helped me go from like a 600 FICO to almost like a 750. I mean, it speaks highly of you. And that's why we're friends. Yeah. And we work together in business. So one last thing before we end our podcast. Okay. I want you to kind of give the audience, you know, a little positive, you know, message out there, and maybe somebody that wants to do credit repair or wants to get in contact with you. So give us a positive message to our clients, and then after that, give us the information where people can reach you at.
Okay. One, you're not alone. I think that a lot of the times when we're in the darkness and when we feel overwhelmed, we think that it's just us, it's just me. I know I've been there where I feel like it's just me. I have the worst credit in the world. Everything is falling apart. You're not alone. There's a lot of people that are going through the same thing. But if you make the step of picking up the phone and calling a company or doing research just on how to improve things, I mean, that's step number one. And just kudos to you for doing that, because that takes a lot of courage to being able to open up your closet with your dirty clothes and say, this is what's going on. So just don't give up. Know that you're not alone. And then how you could find me, I'm very active on social media.
Yes, you are.
So our company, like I said, is OC Credit and Business Builder. So you could look us up on Google. You'll find us there. Put
TikTok.
Orange County on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. I mean, all social media platforms. You could look me up on Instagram with Only Grace.
Only Grace. Perfect. And what's your phone number? Do you want to give up your phone number?
Yes, of course. Yes. And then my phone number is 714-225-0660. And that again is 714-225-0660.
Well, thank you again, Erika Garcia from OC Credit and Business Builders, for coming and being my guest today. It is very important, obviously, for me, because we're in this, you know, together with credit and trying to get home loans and whatnot. And I thank you for coming into my podcast and sharing a lot about your business. And to my viewers and your viewers, and now you know. If you need her, call her, give me a call, message me. Thank you.